answered it. This is it's a fascination. In fact, one of the reasons I invited you on this forum is I saw pictures of you on social media and you're carrying this heavy cross. There's another politician in Zambia who carries another cross, is a total disciple of Wasata, and I'm supposed to bring him here, but he also carries a cross. It's also something fascinating about him, and yours is fascination.
Amen.
Now, before we go any further, tomorrow is the memorial for the late president, President Michael Sata. Remember, we lost him in 2014, October 28th, that fateful day. We are commemorating 11th anniversary since his passing. Let me just play a short video in memory of the late president, and I'll ask you to say your views about Mr. Sata. And then remember, we have the late president, President Edgar Lungu, who has not been put to rest. And I also want you to say a few words about that.
Now, let's see the last ones. Comrade Gerald Scott becomes Vice President. Deputy Vice President Mr. Isi Lungu. Comrade Sebastian Osai Zulu becomes Justice Minister. Deputy Mr. Ngosa Simbiakula, Doctor. Minister of Defense, Comrade GBM Mwamba, Deputy Panch Kaunda. Finance Minister, Comrade Alexander Waretskwanda, Deputy Alfreda Kansebe. Home Affairs, Kenneth Sakeni, Deputy Comrade Mwali Teta. Health, Joseph Kasonde, Deputy Dr. Chukusu. Foreign Affairs, Shimbaka Mwili, Deputy Dr. Ephraim Lungu. Agriculture and Livestock, Emmanuel Chenda, Deputy Nicholas Banda. Labor, Sports, Youth and Gender, Paxson Shamenda, Deputy Istanbul. Commerce, Trade and Industry, Robert Chinga, Deputy Keith Mukata. Mines, Wilbur Simusa, Deputy Aras Musupwa. Information, Broadcasting and Tourism have picked a person who looks like a tourist attraction himself. This is Comrade Jilu Binda. He looks a tourist attraction. So he's going to be the minister. And he will be assisted by Mr. Fori Tembo if he agrees. If he doesn't agree, we'll look for somebody else. Minister of Education, Dr. Piri, who is the Dean of Education at the University of Zambia now. And he will be assisted, if his deputy is Professor Wilombe from Mforo Koso. Minister Lands, Energy and Water Development, Mr. Yaruma, MD for Marole, assisted with his Deputy Minister Charles Zulu. Local Government, Housing and Early Education. Local Government, Housing, Early Education and Environment Protection will be Professor Luo, assisted by our Deputy Esther Banda. Community Development, this is a new ministry now. Community Development, Mother and Child Health, Minister Dr. Joseph Katema, Deputy Minister Jim Kapata. Chiefs and Traditional Affairs, Minister Inonge Wina, Deputy Belinda Kawandami. Transport, Works and Supply and Communications, William Sanda and Mr. Samaron Kufa. Central Province, Bill Pokosa, Copperbelt Yampomkanga, Lopula Davis Mwila, Solomon Mbuzi Eastern, Miles Sampalusaka, Freedom Scars, the Northwestern Province, Matari Mata, Seledi, Western Province, Nathan Mukwanu, Southern Province, Kato.
That was Mr. Michael Sata. We lost him on 28th October 2014. It will be 11 years tomorrow. There is a church service that has been set for the Cathedral of the Child Jesus on Ali Kinkata Road. Find time to attend to it. today we are featuring a young man, a pastor, who's based here in the United States, Pastor Kapale Daka. He has a very unique story. He lost his parents while he was age 7. And he says all he remembers is members of the community raising him. You know, he did very well when he went to secondary school and obtained a scholarship that brought him to York College and Devry University here in the United States. He is a computer scientist by training, and he worked for JP Morgan Chase, where he rose to be vice president, and he also led an IT department at PepsiCo. PepsiCo, you know, the major company that makes Pepsi in North America. And now he's running his own IT and telecom because he's a computer specialist. He's running his own IT and techno company. But on the side, he's been running a ministry because he says the Lord healed him. And he carries this big cross. When you go to his Facebook page, he will show you this big cross, which is a testament for, you know, an orphan from Matero who had no chance whatsoever living this beautiful life here in the United States. Before I bring you on, just bring your camera a bit down. The overhead, what we call the overhead, is too much. Just bring it down. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Again, just a bit down. Just a bit down, sorry. Yeah, okay, wonderful. To our dear listeners, I'm hosting Kapale Daka, Pastor Kapale Daka, and we're looking at his life before we begin to review Zambia. In that video, for you, dear listeners, if you are keen listeners like me, the President Michael Sata, appointed Guy Scott as vice president and appointed Edgar Lungu as deputy vice president. That statement, just after that press conference, caused a major constitutional crisis. Because you know, in Zambia, we don't have a deputy vice president, but Mr. Sata says that's what he meant. So he was corrected by Secretary to Cabinet Oliver Kalawe. He says, no, you only have the vice president, then you can have either a cabinet minister in the office of the vice president or a deputy minister. But he wanted Edgar Lungu appointed as deputy vice president. If you are not an analyst, you don't watch things, that's where things started. So before you see Edgar Lungu 4 years later, and before you see Edgar Lungu being entrusted with opportunities to act as president several times, there is your beginning, where he appointed him as a deputy vice president, a position that doesn't exist in our structure. Pastor, what are your views, first of all, about the late president? You know, we are remembering him tomorrow. And then we haven't put to rest President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So just give me views on those two issues.
Yeah, I would like to pause for a few seconds, a moment of silence for former late President Michael Sata and also Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Amen. Now, my views about President Sata and the same thing with President Lungu. These were patriotic Zambians. Now, I also need to mention that everybody that offers themselves to run for president of the nation, it is not a luxury. It is actually a big sacrifice. So everybody who has gone through Kwazi House, including the current occupant, these are what we call very important people. So President Michael Sata, President Rupia Banda, President Chuluba, President Kaunda, President ECL, President Hakainde. All these people are special people because they put their lives on the line, and then they also expose their families. They expose their families to a lot of ridicule. And that ridicule continues even after they are gone. So their families get to endure ridicule even after the person who was supposed to be president is gone. Now, my view on Michael Sata. I remember Michael Sata, he said he wanted to rule Zambia by following the 10 Commandments. He was a devout Catholic in Kawata. I remember him. So he wanted to rule Zambia using the word of God. And I remember him being patriotic, and his story is very encouraging. I think he's a man without an attractive education, but yet he rose through all these ranks and became the one of the most important people in the nation. I like his charisma. I like his patriotism, and I like his frankness, the way he talked to these educated people, how they are cowards, how he actually related more with the local people, the people in the markets. And even when he had this vision to build the road network in the country, I think 8,000 kilometers, he had a vision, he had a manifesto, he had a strategy. And that is why President ECL came in and famously said, vision is shikwete. Meaning Sata already had a vision, and President ECL only had to provide continuity, which he did. You can see the road network, you can see the hospitals, you can see the airports, you can see everything that he did, because that was the vision of Michael Sata, and that's the vision that President ECL was actually following, and you could see those results. And it is my hope that going forward, also, the vision of Michael Sata needs to be continued. Wherever it is, somebody needs to pick it up, dust it up. And it's a vision where he was reaching the common man on the street and bringing them into the politics. That is why a topic for another day, they have the innocent Kalimanshi, they have all these people that actually were actually participating in the economy of the nation, and they were not sidelined. So in a nutshell, President Michael Sata managed to bring all these people that would not necessarily participate in the politics, and then brought them in. And I think even the young people like JJ Banda, all these people, we have the gentleman from Ankana, all those people were encouraged then because of Michael Sata. So that's pretty much what I can say about Michael Sata. He wanted to rule the country using the word of God, and he was a patriotic man.
And on Edgar Lungu.
Edgar Chagwalungu, also a man coming from a humble background, a man who was patriotic, and a man who had a big heart. A man, people say they've tarnished his name, say he wasn't forgiving. But Edgar Lungu allowed even his ministers, even his lieutenant, he allowed them to be independent. He was a man that was very forgiving, and a man that followed the rule of law because of his education as a lawyer. Edgar Chagwalungu continued the manifesto of Michael Sata. Edgar Chagwalungu managed to keep the opposition together while he wasn't even participating in the politics. That's the genius of Edgar Chagalungu, having the heart of forgiveness, having the heart of just peace and bring everybody together. It is sad what has just happened with Edgar Lungu, and it's a true testament of why I think we're having this conversation today. We are a more divided nation than what we were before independence. All the occupants of Mkwazi, they are all important folks. Everybody who's sat in there. We have differences in beliefs and philosophies, but they're all important. But all of them try to unite us. They all taught us that motto, one Zambia, one nation. Kaunda put the energies behind it, and it was continued with Chuluba. It was continued until Edgar Lungu. It is sad where people are celebrating, saying his body is coming to Zambia. It is sad where there is this machinery trying to attack his family. Like I said, it is a great sacrifice to run and become a president of a nation. His family, they're out there in a foreign country, and people are saying, coming up with all these accusations and lies. Maybe he was shot, or maybe he was doing drugs. That is the former president of our country. 7 years, our lives depended on his decisions. Our lives during COVID depended on his decisions. He kept us, there was no war. In other countries, just to live freely, it is a very difficult thing, because you always have to worry about gunshots. You have to worry about all these kind of things. Even countries like Nigeria, or even Kenya, is not as peaceful. Zambia is very peaceful, and is the true testament of all these leaders that have been at Nkwazi. So Edgar Lungu was a genius in his own right.
Okay, wonderful. We are reviewing Zambia at 61. When we look back at 61, we probably could have achieved more. Using your lenses, just give us a reflection of where we're coming from and where we should go as a country.
We are, whoever lies and says we are not a divided country, that is a lie. The only way you can resolve a problem, the first thing before you resolve any issue, is to do a prognosis. Winemushi used to like to say, root cause. I like that gentleman. May he so rest in peace too. Root cause. He used to say that. You have to go in and analyze and see where we went wrong. To do that, we have to go back to pre-1964. That's what has led us to where we are. I think we are worse off than what we were in 1964 when we were laid by foreigners. Because let me tell you something. Everybody in pre-1964, they all work together. Our patriarchs and our matriarchs, they all work together. You have the likes of Donald Siwali, who was a Namwanga man, who actually was also fighting for the independence of our country. And this gentleman was a pastor, and he was also a freedom fighter. The Namwangas, they will speak, they have so much great stories about their patriarch. Then I move on with Godwin Mbikustala Wanika, a gentleman from Balotin. And I'm going to mention the tribes, not to be tribal. We have to talk about tribes to eradicate tribalism. So the gentleman, Godwin Nkumbula, also left his place in Barose and came to Kitwe. And over there, he started fighting for the independence of our country. He founded the first political party. And in the same vein, we had a gentleman, Harry Mwanga Kumbula, also leaves the southern part of the country, goes to the Copper Belt. And you have the likes of Kaunda, you have Lawrence Katilungu, you have Paul of the Bemba people. But you notice these folks, Paul translated the Bible from English to Deep Bemba. Donald Swale translated the Bible from Namwanga, from English to Namwanga. And you have Mbiku Stale Wanika, a devout Christian, translated the Bible from English to Silozi. And there was various other freedom fighters that there are two things in common. They were all God-loving, and they knew that God was the one who was going to give them their independence. And then we had, they also, we're talking about two things, the independence, and we're talking about God. To be able to translate the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, you must know the word of God. I say this to say, our nation was founded on the word of God, the true word of God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Our nation was a Christian nation from the beginning. Now, we have, I can go back to the history, we have Harry, we have Kaunda, we have Kapwepwe. You have all these folks fighting for independence. And they have God on their hands. And then they gain their independence. Actually, they were sacrificed. If you look at Grey Zulu, he's from Eastern Province. If you look at Ruben Kamanga from Eastern Province. So all walks of, all sorts of people were coming together to fight for independence. And it was the job of a colonialist to divide us. But we had to stick together. We had to be a united people. It is actually rumored that some of the financing to go for that Federation conference in the United Kingdom was supplied by Harry Mwangankumbula. He sold his car. So everybody was sacrificing with their money. They were sacrificing with their prayers, and everybody. The women would even undress just to fight for this independence. Now we are where we are because we went away from the face of God. And this started right after, I think, 1962. You have the election where UNIP participated and you have ANC participated, where they formed like a collusion government. Everything is all right at that time. And former President Kaunda goes to strike or broker a deal with Barroso, where they were supposed
Pastor
to
Pastor
self-manage.
Daka, yeah. Thank you. As you demonstrate the history of our country, there's a name you mentioned. Many people know who Honorable Harry Mwangankumbula was, who Godwin Mbikustalewanika was. There's a name you mentioned. Many people do not know it. Donald Swale. Now, Mr. Donald Swale literally founds Black African politics in our country in 1912, together with the father to the late President, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, the father himself, who was a man of God, David Kaunda. The two of them founded the Mwenzo Welfare Association. That is the first organized grouping of an association demanding for treatment of Africans to be treated very well. So many people do not realize how important Donald Swale was to our country. That welfare association bore other associations. For example, in 1935, you had the first industrial strike. Again, Donald Swale's name comes up, and there are other associations that have been formed. Pre-independence to the first founding of the political party, they are riding on the wave that was created by Donald Swale in 1912 in Nakonde. Mwenzo, if you've been to Nakonde, there's an area before you reach Nakonde called Mwenzo. That's why it was called the Mwenzo Welfare Association. So I'm glad that you cited that powerful name. And I thought I could use a moment to, especially young people, to educate them just about our country. Please continue.
Thank you. Thank you. And very good explanation there. You did a better job than I can to educate, to find the root cause. Where did we go wrong? So we have the independence. And then after the independence, like you say, people barely know Donald Swale. Basically, his history is there, but nobody accentuated it. There's several other freedom fighters where they actually sacrificed, but nobody actually accentuated it. In other words, we lost these freedom fighters. Some of them died lonely deaths in their villages. Somebody, if you met these freedom fighters at the end of their lives, they were just merely just villagers, peasant farmers. But these are the people who are in the forefront in building our nation. And I say this to say, after all that sacrifice, in 66, and I don't mean to blame anyone. We just have to do like a prognosis here. We have to dissect and figure out where we went wrong. So we're not apportioning a blame. We're just trying to dissect where we went wrong so we can fix it. Nobody is wrong. Basically, a lot of these freedom fighters, they were all loving people and loving our nation, just like all the presidents of Zambia. Trust me, you sit in your living rooms and you criticize them, you insult them, but these people are sacrificing to be our leaders. And let me go back to the history. So after the independence, things started falling apart. First of all, Harry did not play a critical part in the governance after independence. In other words, he was seen as a critic of the government, and he retreated to Southern Province. But he did not stop talking to the people there. If you've been to Southern Province and you've sat on their dinner tables, they can tell you the story of Harry more than you can ever imagine. The story of Harry as their patriarch is told on their dinner tables. But Harry, according to the folks in Southern Province, he was mistreated. In other words, they did a mingalato on him. But his people are still there, and they're growing up with that in mind, and we haven't addressed that. Also, we have Balose. That agreement was pretty much just trashed. The people who wanted to self-govern, they had already had an agreement with England, and then the English people actually they didn't cooperate with that agreement, so they tried to do it with Zambia. Barose land was its own protectorate. But after we got independence, Zambia just absorbed this group of people, I think against their will, because there is an agreement that they never went back and renegotiate and say to these guys, okay, we want you to do this because of this. Can you sign here? An agreement is an agreement. In Nyanja, they say, "Panga no inajua mutu Yohani," because of the agreement. And until we go back and address that issue, we will remain a disunited country. And also, I look at Kapwepe, for example. I think before the end of that decade, he resigned, and Kapwepe died a lonely man in his village. And then during that time, at the funeral of Kapwepe, you have then President Kaunda. I hear he was actually banished from attending the funeral. So that stuff that happened in the 60s is still happening today. I think he went there against the will of the family. And I think a few days ago, we saw a video of. Go ahead.
Just a minute. The death of our second vice president, Simon Mwanza Kapwepe, who fell out with the late President Kenneth David Kaunda. The story starts in 1968 when Kapwepe decides to challenge the position of vice president. There was an attempt to make Mr. Kamanga, who was vice president, to also be party vice president, because the party vice president is the one that became Republican vice president. So Kapwepe challenged the candidate of President Kaunda, who was, Kamanga, and he trounced him and won, and he was then made vice president. But it didn't take long, because Kaunda realized Simon Mwanza Kapwepe wielded so much influence, literally had taken over the party from the president. And so the fight began, and by 1971, Simon Mwanza Kapwepe expelled. He had to form another political party, and he was being harassed. They removed him as vice president. He stood in a by-election in Mufulira. He didn't even step a foot there, and he swept that election. Kaunda realized, yes, I'm lost. I've lost my S12 friend, strong friend in Mwanza Kapwepe. And then I'm fighting the ANC on the other side. So Kaunda tawako itamaka. Because this other side of the country was being controlled by Kapwepe, and the other side by Harry Mwanga Nkumbula. And, he said there was a lot of violence and hence a one-party state. So I'm glad that you've highlighted that. But when he died, Simon Mwanza Kapwepe died in Kalulushi. He was taken for burial in Chinsali. The tensions were so much. Remember, these are childhood friends. And when they fell out, the falling out was very spectacular. It would remind me of Frederick Chiluba and Levi Mwanawasa, who were friends from Ndola, but the fallout was terrible. So you can imagine the tensions in Chinsali when they were burying. So the family said Dr. Kaunda would not speak at that burial. And you heard recently, Mulenga Kapwepe said Dr. Kaunda stood to go to the podium. First of all, something dramatic that happened. The casket that that came with the body was dramatically, in front of people, broken down. Kapwepe was from the royal family. Basa Wabika Mumpasa. And there's all these tensions. And, the old caskets and the planks were thrown in the grave. Then he himself carried Mwanza Kapwepe on the stretcher, just Mumpasa. And when he was laid to rest and the time for speeches, Dr. Kaunda stood to speak. The family had made it very clear that he shouldn't speak at that funeral because of those tensions. And I'm hosting Mlenga Kapwepwe on Wednesday. I hope that she can come and relieve some details of that, where Dr. Kaunda was told that, sir, you cannot address the family has refused, that you shouldn't address. Dr. Kaunda was such a big man. He was such a big man. He didn't insist. He obliged and yielded to the demands of the family. And he stepped back. He didn't speak at that funeral. So thank you, Pastor. Continue.
Yeah, so you notice that this stuff was happening, whatever divisions that are going on right now, they are very similar to what was happening back then in the 60s. Simon Mwasaka Pwepo's political party, I think it was banned, and I think this is happening right now, but right now it's kind of more sophisticated, but it's the same thing, just banning the political party, banning whoever is opposing. You see, it used to happen back then, it's still happening now. Now, what is and if you look at it, it happens the same way, even with Chiluba and Kaunda. Those two people made us go through a lot when they were getting at each other. We, the citizens, we have to always watch this. If you look at, I think it was Chiluba and Levy also, a lot of division later on. But let me go back to 1972 when Kaunda has had enough, because there was another gentleman, I think it was Mundia Nalumino. He also formed the political party, United Party, trying to oppose Kaunda. And I think his party was also banned, like what is happening today. And then what happened with that gentleman, Rumino, he actually was a close friend to another gentleman, I think he's from, I don't know where he's from, but he's Adamson Mushala. Now what happens is Adamson Mushala takes a different approach, because he thinks the courts are not working. So Adamson Mushala actually wages a guerrilla war. He goes to Angola and starts fighting the Kaunda government. And you have Nalumino Mundia, who is not actually happy, although later on he was brought in to be vice president, but he was always opposing. You have Balose people who are not very happy. You have Harry, who is not very happy. So all that cacophony of confusion in 1972, Kaunda has had enough. So what does he do? He declares, he talks to his attorney, Mines Achona, and he says to him, we're just going to have one party state. To me, that was the birth of a dictatorship in the country where there's no opposition. You always need opposition, because that's what makes you better. If you are in a room where everybody agrees with you, it means you're not a very smart person, because people ought to challenge your views, people ought to question you. And when we question the process, we shouldn't be afraid of saying, I'm going to perjure myself, I'm going to commit this crime, because actually it's the final product that will be faulty. So Kaunda declares one party state. In 1972, in the 1970s, we are still using the copper that was left by the colonialists. So in 1970, although there are all these divisions, the country still has money. It's actually the golden era at that time. And you can tell a golden era because if you look back in I was not there, but if you read the history, you will notice that even in soccer, I think we were doing well. There is a story of us playing Zaire. How you know a country is doing better? It's not because of formulas. It's not because of algorithm. It's not because of statistics. Somebody may say we are with reduced inflation. How is your pocket feeling? Is there inflation in your pocket every day? So it's very simple. If you see a country is doing well, they will do well in things like sports. That is why in 2012, I think the country was doing well. We won the Africa Cup. How you know a country is doing well? They do well in the arts, the music. And in the 70s, you have bars, nightclubs, mushrooming. You have the great Keith Mlevu, and you have the witch. And then in the evening, our fathers, you'd see them disappear. They go into a disco. Why? Because they have residual funds. The economy is doing good. But now what he has is the economy is doing good, but there's these voices that did not go away. The Balose voice is there. All these voices are still there. But Kaunda has declared one party state to silence them. And he notices that he cannot keep this going. What does he do? I think he deliberately tries to assist other countries around, like South Africa, to fight for their independence, like Northern Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, to fight for independence. And even Angola, we are helping, we are extracting all those little resources to help Angola, help Namibia. Even the South Africans, they'll tell you that Nelson Mandela lived in Matero. You have the Zimbabwe president educated in Mumbwa, the University of Zambia. Our country is spending so much. And then what does it do? It attracts wrath. It attracts war from all these people that were colonizing these countries. And what does we do? What do we do? We are spending resources, and then we are actually getting bombed. So the peace starts to disappear. But I think for our president at that time, he can actually have a stronger grip on the nation, because if a country is getting bombed, citizens are not supposed to talk. We are at war. What does he do? He even declares curfew. Meaning by 6 o'clock, you're all supposed to be in their homes. What happens to the music industry, the nightclubs? They close early. The musicians back then, if you looked at them, they start losing their revenue. They become regular people. People were actually of stardom. So the country is getting destroyed at that moment, and Kaunda has a strong grip on the country. He can even come to your homes, what they call cleanup, where they can search in your house and search your underwear and everything. Basically, we are living in a dictatorship. But those voices did not go away. And I remember what I said. We were founded on the Bible. Those are not Bible tenets that we're following now. We have a guy who is controlling everybody. But you can silence the people. You can say to them, don't say it. They won't say it, but they'll say it on their dinner tables. Their children are learning about that history. And then in the future, that's what you see is somebody rises up and then says, I'm going to do it for my tribe. Unlike what our forefathers were doing, where they were doing it for the greatness of our nation. Now somebody just says, I'm going to come here and I'm going to fix it for my tribe. Or I'll be the last man standing. And then what does he do? He can't do it in Zambia. What does he do? He goes and interacts with foreign entities. And then those are the people now that he has more interest. He's trying to impress those people more than impressing the people of Zambia. So basically, those stories that are being told, although they were silenced publicly, they were being told in their homes. And they're still told until today. Each people, they tell their history. I'm Ngoni from village Chinyaku in Chipata. I heard the stories about how our forefathers also contributed for independence. And I know each and every tribe, they have this. But nobody has gone back to speak openly and say, we are different tribes, but we need to be a united tribe. And then there is a motto, say, one Zambia, one nation. That also, although it sounds good, it's more like, to me, it's like a gimmick. You cannot say one Zambia, one nation, as if there were multiple nations. You must have thought there was multiple nations. We are supposed to be a united Zambia, just a united people. You look in the United States, there is diversity. There is communities for Chinese. You go to a city, it's Chinatown. You go to a city, it's Mexicans there. You go to a city, Italian, but they are united as the United States at the same time. They're embracing diversity. Right now, if you talk about tribal, you're going to strike a nerve. So those issues that were done incorrectly after independence, they are still there. They're still here today. The issues where you have to be a country that doesn't respect God. If you can fail to bury a man who led you 7 years, I mean, this is the man who led you. Let's not need to talk about a president. You have to be a broken nation, the nation that doesn't believe in the word of God. If you just fail to bury somebody for 144 days because of somebody, there's all this, somebody wants to see the body. And an embarrassment happened in South Africa in that court where there was accusations of rituals. Basically, we were founded as a Christian nation, but we are not a Christian nation today. That's where the problem is. The nation is broken because of what happened in the 70s.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, this is your time to participate. We are hosting Kapale Daka. Pastor Kapale Daka is a banker, is now running his own business, is an IT specialist, but I invited him to come and review the state of our country. You know, we are 61. Where are we going? Tomorrow on 28th, we are remembering President Michael Chilufya-Sata, who left us in 2014. It will be his 11th anniversary. So make your call, make your contribution, whatever your thoughts are. The phone lines are open. You can make your contribution or ask Pastor Kapale Daka any question. He's saying, let's go back to where we started from. What did we do wrong? How can we correct the path of our country so that the next 60 years is a period of success, it's a period of prosperity, it's a period of development. Make your call.
Today we stand at a crossroads, not just of politics, but of conscience. The passing of our humble president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, is not only a moment of mourning, it is a moment of reckoning. Let this be a message to every future politician of Zambia. Power is not a crown. It is a responsibility. You are not above the people, you are born of them. You are raised by their trust, and you are judged by how you honor it. What we witnessed during President Lungu's health challenges must never happen again. No family should be dragged through courtrooms while grieving. No widow should plead for dignity. No orphan should wait for justice to bury their father. This is not the Zambia we were meant to be. Let us start over. Let us rebuild, not just our institutions, but our hearts. Let the death of President Lungu remind us that we are each other's keeper. That love is not weakness, it is our greatest strength. That the Bible commands us to care for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. And that true leadership begins with compassion. We only have one Zambia. Let us raise her high, not with slogans, but with service. Let us show love, not just in words, but in action. Let us unite, not just in grief, but in purpose. To the Lungu family, we are with you. To every citizen, your pain matters. To every leader, your legacy begins now. One Zambia, one nation, one heart.
We have our first caller. Caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Mawamba. Good evening, Pastor Daka. Zephania, I'm calling from Lusaka, Zambia.
Thank you, Zephania.
I want just to say thank you very much what he has elaborated. Actually, Mr. Mamba, I think 2 months ago, I think I wrote an article like what Pastor Mumba has just said, that is President Hakainde Hichilema becoming another Kenneth Kaunda? That was the title. I think I'll share so that a lot of people can also read, because when you look at the trends of Kenneth Kaunda, I can see them now in President Hakainde Hichilema, where he doesn't want an opposition after 61 years of independence. Then he doesn't want to see any opposition. He doesn't want to see anyone who seems to challenge him. Now, as 61 years of independence, we are supposed to celebrate that our forefathers fought for this independence. But today, we have gone back where our children are supposed now to fight the Independence 2.0, which means that they should talk about the economy, which is, in ICU. We have load shedding, the price of meal, and so forth. These are the issues where everyone in 2021, when HH was voted, people thought that he was the Messiah who is going to solve these issues. But 4 years down the line, we are still like we have gone back into the UNIP era. 51 years step backwards. That's what UPND has done, has taken us. This is where now the president should listen to what people are saying. A good leader, you always listen what your people what are saying. Whether we are coming from the opposition, from within, you must understand. A person who fears God is the person who is going to understand. Because a person who is able to hear what people are criticizing is a person who will become a good leader. Because even Jesus Christ, when the disciples told him that we can do miracles, he told them that wait until the right time. And they waited, they listened. So a good leader, you must be a good listener. So what Pastor Daka said, indeed, if those in leadership, they should not criticize. I know they are going to criticize him because he has spoken sense and is speaking what others are failing to speak today. I urge the church members, the church's mother bodies, come on board. Look at this country where it's going. During ACL, may his soul rest in peace, they used to speak the churches. We saw the CSOs, they were speaking. Today, people are not speaking. What has come out of you? Come out and speak for your country. This is the only Zambia we have. We must stand out and speak so that the people who are in the governance, we must speak the truth to power, because we are the people and the Zambians are the people. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, respected Right Honorable Emmanuel Mwamba.
Good evening, my brother.
Let me just go back. Let me disclose my names. My names are Tresford Lumbi Chomba.
Yes.
Other Emmanuel Mwamba, if you may recall very well, when the late President, Dr. Frederick Chiluba, may his soul rest in peace, was abandoned by his own ministers, the former ministers. When he's paraded before the courts of law, when everyone ran away from him, you were his head. I organized the youths of Mtendere to show solidarity to the former president. This was in a mode to respect the former president office, right? When the former president again, Rupia Bezanbanda, may so rest in peace, was had some issues. I came again to try to protect the office of the former presidents. And I'm sure the people that surrounded, that were there then, my brother Moyo, the Mfones there, Rupia Banda was a lone president. I organized some youth to show solidarity in the courts of law. This is where now I'm trying to speak this with my full mind. What we have in Zambia is sort of, for the lack of better terms, is we are so disrespectful to the office of the president, whether the incumbent or the former. Why do we do this? Why can't we once, at least for once, come to the realization that that office is a sacred office, respected, whether one is there or not? Let us love one another. We are a Christian nation. Chiluba declared this country as a Christian nation in 1991. And Christianity, let me say this, that's why Mahatma Gandhi, my brother, said, I love the Christ, but I hate you, Christian, because all of us as Christians are hypocrites. 99% are hypocrites. We are pretenders. We go to church on a Saturday, we go in church on Sunday, lifting the Bible, praying, forgetting the Christianity tenets, love one another. Even before you go to the church, the Bible is very clear. Before you go to the church, reconcile with your brother. But every Saturday, every Sunday, we go to church, shamelessly singing slogans, shamelessly singing the songs, praying, confessing. My brother, it pains me very well. Dr. Nevas Mumba, I'm going to mention the names. Dr. Nevas Mumba was at loggerheads with the former president, Rupia Banda. He organized a reconciliation meeting at Mika Hotel with my brother Kachinga, who is in jail. I called Nevas Mumba. This is not and you come and sit your brother, Dr. Buzani Banda, at Mika Hotel. It was me. It ended an Akachinga snack invitation. I wrote it my good elder, Mbakando is saying, let no one lie to say that this reconciliation thing came from, it came from me. By then, as the president of the International Institute of Democracy and Conflict Resolution, I wrote a letter to reconcile with Rupia Banda and never Smumba then. My brothers, let's be very honest. We are not Christians. Let us be very honest. And it's also shameful to the so-called church. I've got no issues of whatsoever because even the church has gone to sleep. Very few can speak their mind. But the bottom line is this. Emmanuel Mwamba, you remember very well how I suffered to try to just show solidarity to the Red Children to protect the office of the former president. We went to Akwalesa. Ichalo to Achisangafie. We are so generous. No one is going to live beyond 110 years. Soon and very soon, Christ is going to come. Soon and very soon, the seeds that we sow now, we are going to reap. Please tell me, Papa, Zambia no. And there's no one who is bigger than Zambia. All of us are going to go. My late uncle, may so rest in peace, Dr. Emin Shota once told me to say, we are in power. That is when he was fired as minister, you remember, by Chiluba. He told me, I came to when the president decided to fire because I on the road somewhere there. But my bottom line is, you politicians, let me know, so-called politicians, all of us can be politicians and can even do better than everyone who is the politician. What and above all is to respect God. Those that are in office today,
thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Respect God. And I thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. My name is Leo Morita. I'm calling you from South Africa.
Yes, Leo. Make your contributions.
Yes, Ambassador. My biggest concern right now is it's how we really hate each other in Zambia. What the previous caller just said. He said we are a Christian nation, but we do not behave like Christians. We hate one another, and I don't understand why. Today we are going into months. We are still trying to mourn the previous president of this land, and no efforts have been made, and we are all just pointing fingers at one another. And at the end of the day, all this thing is not even going to get us anywhere by doing that. And when I look at the people that are in front of the whole entire situation, are people that we look at, they're our models, and the way they are behaving, you guys are our fathers that we have been looking up to, and you guys can't figure out the situation, can't figure out the problem, you can't bring unity to the country, but the only thing that is happening is segregation. Ambassador, you were in South Africa, and one thing I knew about you, you were a very honest man that wanted to always fix things for the Zambians in this country. Every single time we call you for a problem, you were there for us. But I am looking at you as somebody that has that authority of trying to put people together and not divide them. So I think the way forward we're supposed to be looking at how we are going to move forward, how we are going to bring peace and unity, not segregation. We are not supposed to be preaching segregation. We're supposed to be preaching love and unity in order for us to continue even governing the country. There are people that can support the PF, there are people that can support the UPND, but we are all Zambians. If war had to come to Zambia, it's Zambians that will die. I don't want to say it's the PF or the UPND. It's Zambians that will die. So at the end of the day, it's time for us to start preaching love. The more love we preach for each other, we'll start respecting each other. We won't start calling each other names. So that's the only contribution I wanted to put down, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's take just a few calls so that we allow you to answer to some of those concerns.
Drainage yakwanitsa almost 5 months. IMP akuchadidza amene ala Jonathan Daka alukanga kuti akonze drainage. Lomba ndrama za pendani pafupi huko pakene. Lomba ndrama za CDF zigwira ntchito bwanji. Tirufusa inu a president akainde chilema amene machotsa ndalama utotsa. Upatsa Daka amene ala MP. So kuchadidza kuno ndiye kwathu muluona drainage IMP kuti atsirize yakanga. So ndalama za CDF angodya okhoika pakamwa, koma wanthu amene anavotera kuti akhala MP ni wanthu amene alulira kuti kuchadidza kuno chitukuko kulibe. So drainage imeneyi muluona drainage 5 months ka, koma now kulusaka ngokuna mana president akainda kuti no ine Daka nirugwira ntchito kuchadiza. A president imvani kuchadiza alufuna MP wanyu kuchadiza. Reason chitukuko cheni kulibe. President alufuna wanyu, makanselors wanyu, makanso chairperson wanyu, miseu yanyu, maskuzi yanyu kuchadiza. Maboho yanyu kuchadiza. Chifukwa ukhala kuti chitukuko chinaliko simbe wanthu ngokondwera. So alukambiratu wanthu kuchadiza kumene nilirine kuna kuti tifuna president wanyu, MP wanyu, makanso chairperson wanyu, makanselors wanyu, marodzi yanyu, maboho yanyu kuchadiza kuno niliri. Chitukuko kulibe uku kuchadiza. Kopaniso na ukaone wanthu uku aone. Uyu mseu upita kwa zingalume uku. Kwa chifika ni fumbi yokayoka. Hachifi ngata upita kupalasa achitombuwa na ngagaya mchigayo. Koma MP satani saoneka. So ine nali pano ukuzani wanthu kubwalo kuti mchadiza chitukuko cheni mulibe. Tikani mafupi ogopa. Drainage ya Daka 5 months.
The voice from Chadiza there. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening, thank you.
Yes, I'll stay anonymous for now, but I have a contribution that I would like to make on this very important program.
Yeah.
Now, as we reflect on Zambia and on President Michael Sata and on President Edgar Chagalungu, on the eve of the Saturday. I'll call it the Saturday. I am of the view that our attitude as we approach 2026 needs to be checked. And I mean, all of us, 24 million Zambians. Think of it, if Kaunda, Kapwepwe, and company had our attitude, we would never have gotten our independence. Zambia right now is groaning for the second independence, but are we really ready to fight for it? For example, today, the Secretary General of Tonse Alliance and PF is in Chimbokaira. How many of us has seen the constitutional, confusion that's happening in his case? And how many of us are actually fighting? I see people take it very lightly because the gentleman is in prison based on a law that is repealed, does not exist anymore. And there is precedence, Fresha Siwale, whose case the state discontinued because the law has been repealed. So we know that this is a confusion. This is an overreach by the state to incarcerate a man literally for nothing. And I've seen how even the members of parliament for whom he was fighting for when he made that statement that landed him into this situation, they are equally quiet. It's pin drop silent. That attitude, if that is the attitude Kapwepwe had, if that was the attitude that Kaunda had, if that is the attitude that Nakatindi had, we would never have gotten our independence. We need to rise up and stand for what is right. Imprisoning leaders of opposition on laws that don't exist anymore and the nation is quiet is frightening to me. I'm beginning to find all this call for the second independence as a mere joke because this is providence. It is as if the universe has given us a fight to take and everybody is quiet. I saw others were even watching football yesterday. Others were moving. When there's a matter that everybody should be focusing on, our attitude is really bad. And I feel that as we remember Satan, we need to remember how he fought, how he spoke, how he stood up. Even when it was not necessary, we could have been in his luxury, in his comfort. He stood up and went into the sun to fight for people, traveled everywhere, spoke for everybody, spoke for the poor, for the underprivileged. And we are lacking that Sata spirit in this generation. We are lacking the Kapwepwe spirit in this generation. I think this is something that is really paining me right now. Sitting down, claiming we want a second independence, or we want change, we want what? Meanwhile, we can't simply stand up for basic things. The universe here in Zambia has provided us a fight to take on, to prove that indeed we want a second independence. A man is in prison for a law that doesn't exist. The issue is in media, and people are quiet, including members of the Patriotic Front. It's quiet. I think the only person I heard speak about this is you, Ambassador, yesterday. But everybody else is quiet. I think, let me just encourage people, as we remember Sata, let us remember his heart. Let us take on his personality and his attitude to fighting for those who can't fight for themselves. This is my contribution, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anonymous. Powerful statement there from Anonymous. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
My name is Sinyangwe Dani. I'm calling you from Canada.
Mr. Sinyangwe Dani, make your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. I'll echo with three callers what they have said. First and foremost, leadership is being a service to the people. I'll give an example about you, Ambassador. I followed you when you were representing Vachiluba. You did it because it was a job and you wanted not anything out of it. Even when you became an ambassador to South Africa, Ethiopia, and the minister of Northern Province, you did it because you wanted to save people. What we are lacking today, Ambassador Mwamba, is one, the church is no longer the church of believers, but it's a church of people. They look at who's bringing what in the church. There are very few people who are speaking for the voiceless. The church is where we used to go, and the church will be hate. But today we don't have such kind of people, because if you look at everything that is happening, more reason why people are going to the bar than the church, because I would rather be in a bar where there are no hypocrites than in the church where I need to find freedom of peace, which does not exist in Zambia. But let's not give up. We've got only one country. Let's not give up. I'm speaking to everyone that is listening on this forum. Tell your neighbor, your friend, go and register. Zambians have seen this before. When I grew up, I've always said it, and I think for me, I grew up in the UNIP period. There's no other party that was as powerful as UNIP. There's no other party that had a powerful leader as KK. But 1991, the people spoke. Even now, Zambians, whatever is happening, I'm not going to mention what this and this. We all know, is this the country that we want for our children? Is this how people are supposed? Look, Bamwamba, how many people call you on this forum and saying anonymous, and it's becoming normal? Is this what we want? No, let's not give up, Bamwamba. The church, let's not forget that ukuombela lesa, it's a calling from God. Don't look at your pockets. Then we are calling upon the church. If you love God and you represent the body of Christ, do you the right thing. Government come and go. Thank you, Bamwamba. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Let's take just the last few calls, and then we allow our people to we allow Pastor to answer the question. Let me just take these persistent calls so that we allow Pastor to answer. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. This is Munkonge from the Indian Ocean.
Make your contributions.
Nami cherera bamwamba bashima pepo na mfa bwino sana pantapa li bashima pepo nishimishi byokweba tina presence yako eri mpepi na totela sana na chafu afenchi ta first contribute pamana ndo musala abo yo baba nawo musala abo yo bakwata ni reminder party ifemwe bamona, which means bali bika Kristo pakati ka mwe wawo, because ngo wafyaro chipya wa new creation, which means wa fara fyonse fya kwa Kristo. So presence ya alifula efyo na ngobena Paulo bale bonfya katambala baposho muntu. So every mind yo salvation ya wasana very powerful, because in salvation yo benda na yena twakwatire salvation kupitira pa musaraba yo mfa ya kwa yachitike transaction opo ya puirire na mfa bwino sana. Mwamba wesu inefo ningalanda mwando wakwe bati Christianity mcharo chesu twaisenda kubuntunzi with carnal mind, because when muntu ora wapokelera Kristo mukati kamwe benefinto shokarachita tukara kulingana na Kristo fya fwaya arafuayo kwelera arafuayo kutemwa lero tatu abapuirika. That's why Kristo yonse no mpasho wakwe owachire utukontrola rapalya twaruba twafukama fo na Bible yaso sokwe batinga chako bati mopsana na munongo akasuba kewa nombo kwisaisa muku reconciliation yakaena ili reconciliation ya mcharo chensui yali bako tricky. Why yabera ko tricky? Because umuntu waruba eurombo bwerero kuri uri arufyenye then uri arufyenye ngakana ukumwerera nishe wakwato obwafya nomba bushe umuntu nakurufyanya nomba umuntu ukurufyanya tarifwa asumini ukwebati narufyanya nomba yo ara ashani mukurandana nkwe ushiro sumina tina kwate chirubo yo ara mwerera weka ukwebati uyu muntu ngo ari nchitefi mukatika mutima wobe nakuliresa tumweresa mwerere uyu muntu teshibe fyari echita nomba bushena rasuminisha uri umuntu firafine firugo fyari echita apitirishe so pali bako bwafya wali narandire efi shishi berimbi muko shokupiribura ngararuba number 1 ilio bashukuru bantu bali pachalo ama challenges wale pitamu ya mtechi twingire motwaranda bife twamonapo kwali fya kwebati umuchinshi wali chepa number 2 isambusha kuya kuchipatala takwali uko bapera ero babatanye isambusha kuya kuchipatala bale kwate chikongo mugati ka mutima wabo nati kubantu bonse ero number na chimbira chena ero balingira okupera makakumu nabo balirombere ku munabo kwe bati mune chikote mungando mwa kuikala so ndero mbako irenganda mushaba abantu kitwa ikalamu para trefu ayengando kuya kumbi umuntu wasomira toke takuri ubwafya nara kupera kutwa mukwikalamu badira chafika pakati kabushiku batumira muranko amashwa tawo mune marori chayonga bwacha ukasali amano muramwera muri aho insha kupere filana ndira tukayamo falsara fya amano we mwino kwakuya umuntu abona mbana amano mpaka tikabushiko yafurungana na bana mutemu ikawakwe ashira no kumutwara mukora mukustand over amaka bantu tabakwete ko akurura amakanga bapera umuntu abo ashira no kusangwa ukushindiko munanko ekuchintu ichabe chikankara ichakupera ali amaka aya no mwana umutemu iko munanko mukupitana mukufa enganda yapiteni number 1 number 3 again paisa nombeli ashiria kana twaro muntu kuchipatara fyapwe fenombaliro muntu rwafwa urabale shupana nankwe balingira nomba baraba shere pati kwena ofyona chitire futware sendana no munanji kwena alirubire nomba mwe bashara pacharo kwena na ina na shining shoko bati na aliruba kumunanji nomba since pacharo talipo mwe baliponi mwewo ndipanga sa shenu katufute fyonze fyachitika kwena na aliruba nomba katuma ni akapipa ko batushindi ko munensuyu muri buwino ilyo lyashi no bapo oro again number 2 tunafanya vya kurondora bamwamba ama social media ana yena yaba fedomba ino instabantu amara yali furungana na abantu fe baranda no baba social media fya kutarifya abantu imitima na bashiringisha tumuntu alifwa no rupwa urechura bushewe bawo iso walifwa ure ubalifwa umubiri walifina yukuringana ntambiri mbita uringiri okusamba oro bami bayeko bati awe arebe pafye ubufi bawo ishuta bafwa ushenga cyari no okutuwa umfashani ishurira chikongo pa mutima ushenga cyakwe bati abafyashina abaforo umuntu areko batabafuyire wala umfashani abayo bawo ishwa pitire fyo koro baba info bafuyire ushe wala umfashani so Kristo yero fwa kwa mukatika charo chezo pantu ilo Kristo atukumia ala leta amana yote chitutontonka nyara leta okutemwa ala twirura mu mama tukutureya nikuchiri ndukutureya tefa turingiro okuikala ora na bashima pepo bene ababene abo twagata mu charo chezo batarukeko kufukanza fya charo batako amali treat babako mu fasting bako bati Kristo abapera amano kuti abapera na amano aya kubika na ba politician pamo nombo kuchira baraba na Kristo bara ngupoka amano ya kucharo pantoro apoka ora apokerera Kristo mukatika mwe obe ni shota uri wa kucharo tawuri wa kucharo awe baraba kucharo amano bakwata tete balingane no muntu apokerere puskiro wapokerere puskiro ari kwa tamano aba unique aya chita attract ne charo pantofo wara chita na ngofo wara nda umupasho wara ingira mu mashu yobe na baraba chikwata amami timesha isha kosa barane nukomurando wako bati mupashure chita operate nomba ababashima pepo bafura Kristo oro nomba ba kuri kufukanza vya charo pakutwara umutende bena bafure vest imi efe bakabira fyonze bafunya pamiri yabo bafukama baromba amano kulirisa icharo chesu chabana muishira na babene abatarama kuti abana muishira nomba problem yesu bare butukira kufye sonde babudu babashe chinzo cha kwalisa kwena mwandini bamwambaine ndapepera profesa natu paka tumbuka kufe bashima pepa wapepa muchine na muchinka noti bashima pepo bakufora fyati wamoneke pako bata amashu inara ndaka tekara mfo nawe tonton kanyati usheri pepo ndepe pa ushere sare pokerera na ngofyo ndeti tamuka kaka mutima wandi ushefi suma umutima wabenga wama tuwa wanya necharo naturefu wanya etaro umutima wawe uri waramba so bashima pepo bafere bawumana akapi balira nakuliresa aberera pafyo bataramina resa babutukira kuma politics.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bamunkonge. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I'll revert to Pastor Daka to give us closing remarks. First, he's going to answer your questions and he's going to give his closing remarks. But I was playing the voice from Chadiza. Let me just play the voice from Chadiza.
Hii drainage yakwanitsa almost 5 months. IMP akuchadidza amene ala Jonathan Daka alukanga kuti akonze hii drainage. Lomba ndrama za twendani mafuko huko pakene. Lomba ndrama za CDF zigwira ntchito bwanji. Tirufusa inu a president akainde chilema amene mwachotsa ndalama uchotsa. Upatsa Daka amene ala MP. So kuchadidza kuno ndiye kwathu muluona drainage IMP kuti atsirize yakanga. So ndalama za CDF angodya okhoike pakamwa koma wanthu amene anavotera kuti akhala MP ni wanthu amene alulira kuti kuchadidza kuno chitukuko kulibe. So drainage imeneyi imuluona drainage 5 months ka koma nawu kulusaka ngokuna mana president akainda kuti no ine Daka nirugwira ntchito kuchadiza. A president imvani kuchadiza alufuna MP wanyu kuchadiza reason chitukuko cheni kulibe. President alufuna wanyu, makanselors wanyu, makanso chairperson wanyu, miseu yanyu, maskuzi yanyu kuchadiza huko, maboho yanyu kuchadiza huko. Chifukwa ukhala kuti chitukuko chinaliko simbe wanthu ngokondwera. So alukambiratu wanthu kuchadiza kumene nilirine kuna kuti tifuna president wanyu, MP wanyu, makanso chairperson wanyu, makanselors wanyu, marodzi yanyu, maboho yanyu kuchadiza kumene niliri chitukuko kulibe uku kuchadiza. Kopaniso na ukaone wanthu uku aone uyu mseu upita kwa zingalume uku kwa chifika ni fumbi yokayoka hachifi ngata upita kupalasa achitombuwa na ngagaya mchigayo koma MP satani saoneka. So ine nali pano ukuzani wanthu kubwalo kuti mchadiza chitukuko cheni mulibe. Si tikani bafupi ogopa akuti drainage ya Daka 5 months wakangokonza numati no ine ngwira bwino. So wanthu kubwalo kuchadiza imvani. Vena inu muli kwa John Chepa, vena inu muli kutafera Nsoni, vena inu muli kumwangazi kuchanjowe kwa khulika. Upita uko kupansi uko kuchanjowe kucha kumakanso famu osapanga masovera uvotera MP amene alipo amene akuti Jonathan osayesa kuno mavoti ya president kulibe, mavoti ya MP kulibe kuno. Nali pano pamakina ine nikufuna ni mafuna abwino kubaro osakana mantha 2026 ni imene.
My dear brother, answer the callers and give your last remarks.
Yes, thank you so much, Ambassador, for having me. You see, from all the callers, there is one theme here. The theme is we need to unite and we need to go back to the face of God. Now, somebody may ask, what are the problems we have in Zambia? Is it health care? Is it unemployment? Is it load shedding? Is it the problem with the junkies? I mean, these are plethora of problems. It's a lot of them. But all these problems, they require a spiritual solution. Because a presidential candidate can come and say, I have a financial package, I have a framework to solve these problems. But the problem in Zambia is not physical, it is spiritual. Zambians are some of the brightest people that I've ever seen. Even a regular Zambian with minimal education looks and sounds and thinks better than another African. But then we are actually at the bottom as one of the poorest countries because the problem is actually spiritual. And Frederick Chiluba recognized that the founding of our nation was founded under the Bible, using the Bible. That's what our forefathers were trying to do. And he knew that something had happened, we had strayed away. And that is why he stood up at that Independence Stadium to try and rededicate our country back to God. Unfortunately, I don't think the message really reached God. It seems like the devil intercepted it and decided to relocate to our country. And what is happening right now is not godly. And from that time, if you may follow me, from that time, the time of Chiluba, we haven't had the president stay for too long. We've lost about what, 5, 6 presidents. It is not natural. Even Malawi, even Zimbabwe, all these countries have not lost their presidents that we have done. Basically, I think that dedication to God did not hit. And then we have a problem. I don't want to call it a curse, but somebody ought to go back to that Independence Stadium and send a message to God for the deliverance of our nation. The campaign that we should have in a nation is not how to solve load shedding, is not how to solve healthcare. All those are band-aid solutions. We actually need to rededicate the country to God, back to the basics. Chilua tried to do it, it didn't hit, and we've had like a curse where presidents fell sick. These are people with good health care. So what I'm saying is there's a theme here where everybody in our nation needs to pray for our nation, even when they banish your prayers, pray for our nation. But there has to be a next guy, next president. The golden standard for that person is a person that can dedicate our nation back to God, destroy all these curses. Don't look at a man who's going to come to you and say, I can fix your health care, because that's a small thing. Or I can build roads. Those are easy to build. But then you have to go back to the root cause, which is we have to go back and dedicate our nation to God. Only then, after you dedicate our nation to God, will you create opportunity and end things like junk lifestyle? If you look at load shedding, our electricity is hydro, which is water. Water comes from God. So once you put God first, everything shall be well with you. And one caller mentioned about how you have to safeguard the presidents. The current president need to be respected. President is like infum. Infum, infum. You insult him, you are making things worse. And as a matter of fact, you need a leader that's going to bring reconciliation, such that Edgar Chagwalungu will be the last president to be persecuted in that country. And I also appeal to the president also to also realize that he can try as much as he can to at least bring about reconciliation for a united Zambia. And one caller was talking about this is a second independence. Yes, I agree. And that's a mindset of the people that should that are trying to usher in a new leadership. They should be thinking of like they're fighting for independence. You cannot just have like little people without like enough education. Like, why me? He was the one fighting for his independence. Right now he's languishing by in the jail cell or by himself. There was also one other person, Ethel Chisano Edwards. He was also fighting. I mean, initially she started by fighting for independence, but then when she reconciled, the reconciliation didn't happen. She ended up getting into trouble. So it's an appeal to both our opposition and also the current leadership. If we keep going in this trajectory, there is no way you can do business. There's no way you can build on like education. There's no way you can build on healthcare. The first thing is to go back and try to do what Chilua was trying to do and destroy that curse. And then once we do that, then we have a chance. Without that, all these will be band-aid solutions. See, when you see these presidential candidates, they come up, they sound very good with some very good English. Some of them are financial managers. They have a financial solution. They will talk about the package. Some of them are lawyers. The lawyer is just going to come and say, we have to fix the constitution. The constitution I've seen is not even a powerful thing because I see it getting ignored every day. We need other solutions as a nation, like our forefathers who put God first. And Chiluba tried to put God first. And I think he paid a little price for that. And I also think Edgar Chagwalungu also tried to create a day of reconciliation and national prayer. These people are making attempts to align the nation with God. So I'm saying in a nutshell that when you look at this presidential candidate, do they have the capacity to reconcile? I see, Ambassador, you left your country where you were comfortable. There are folks like there's a lady in the United Kingdom where she gets harassed every day. I think her name is Lillian Mutambo. She gets harassed that she cannot return to her own country. That is a problem that we have here. We need reconciliation and connect ourselves back to God in order for us to have a chance where we don't end up like Rwanda. I hope I covered everybody, Ambassador Ben.
Thank you. Kindly just say your last words, then we close.
Okay. So my last remark is the citizens right now. I've seen a few opposition people coming up. They should stop this selfishness. Leadership comes from God. And we don't want somebody who's going to come up with a trick. Maybe they have a lot of money and then they buy the presidency. At the end of the day, we're still going to have that problem. So when the citizens vote, they should look for folks that will unite our nation, people of reconciliation. That is what the people should look for. They shouldn't just look for a person who's got one side of a qualification. Let's say you're educated in law, you're educated in education. We don't have a problem of educated people in Zambia. We've never had that. Zambia is one of the most educated countries. But I would like to end by reading a Bible verse, if you allow me, Ambassador.
That's okay.
This is Psalms 67. And I'm going to read this. I don't mean to bore anybody, but I'm reading these, sending these words. These words are spirits. These words are real. These words are alive. May God be gracious to us and bless Zambia and make his face shine on our nation so that your ways may be known on earth, your salvation amongst all the people. May the people of Zambia praise you, God. May all the people praise you in our nation. May Zambia be glad and sing for joy, for you rule the people with equity and justice, and you guide the nations of the earth. May the people of Zambia praise you, my God. May all the people of Zambia with all the tribes praise you, so that our land will yield a harvest, that you shall bless our nation with water. God, our God, bless us. May God bless us still, so that the end of the earth may fear him. Amen.
Thank you very much, my brother. And thank you for gracing this program today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And to you, the callers, thank you for your various calls. We are hosting Kapale Daka. Is a pastor based here in the United States, a young man from Matero, brought up by the community, but thriving in the United States. And we thank God for the mercy on your life. We have various guests that have been lined up this week. But before I go, there's a matter I need to address. This is a matter by government. They've been alleging that maybe let me release Pastor Daka. Thank you, Pastor Daka. You can go. You are free to go. I'm just winding up the program. The Minister of Finance today held a press conference at which he defended himself and stated that government has restructured 92% of our national debt. Remember, these words were spoken by the president when he opened parliament. They were spoken by the minister when opening official, when presenting the national budget. Dr. Grieve Chelo, an associate professor based in the United Arab Emirates, challenged the minister, challenged the president that you have not restructured 92% of the debt. You have not. What you have restructured is 46%. And the IMF documents are showing 46%. And Mulenga Kapwepwe, who I'm hosting on Wednesday, also reiterated that this government is a government of liars. Even straightforward matters, they choose to lie. And she repeated these facts. For example, the issue of debt restructuring. She repeated many facts which they've lied. But today the Minister of Finance said, no, let me hold a press conference. And he stated that in his press conference, he literally confirmed what we've been saying. They have signed MOUs up to 92% to restructure the debt. MOU are non-binding agreements. The agreements that have allowed the debt to be restructured is on the binding treaties they have so far is only 46%. They've signed the MOUs up to 92%, but an MOU is just that. An MOU is non-binding. It's not effective until you've signed something legally binding. So I think government is trading on lies. They want to lie that they've restructured the debt for 92%. I saw the critics of the PF and myself on my page. They keep on saying, Ambassador, why do you raise this issue? People are the ones that borrowed. All we demand is a truth from government. Nothing more, nothing less. They are not even telling you how much they are borrowing. They are borrowing so much. Just in the last 4 years, they've been borrowing an average of $1 billion a year in foreign debt. And the debt now is in excess of $4.5 billion that they've borrowed. They found a debt of $11.9 billion. It's sitting at $15.7 billion. When you put arrears and other things, it's going in excess of $17, $18 billion. Then they've ballooned the local debt. So when we demand these things, we're not saying the PF didn't borrow. At least the PF borrowed, and you saw where they took the money. They are borrowing, where are they taking the money? That has been the question. And if the debt restructure was successful, why are you going to be paying $1 billion a year beginning this year for a debt that you've restructured? Why are you paying so much? That's like 20% of your national budget. And this combined your education and health, your debt service is far higher than these two key sectors to our country. Is that what you call debt restructuring? Is it successful? No, it is not. Here is Felix Nkuluksa, Secretary to Treasury. I close with his remarks where he's confirming that $1 billion is what we are paying as debt service. That's the reason the PF defaulted, because they said it's too high. But this government will continue to pay $1 billion every year to our creditors.
Don't come on the board. The 6% that the minister asked, we haven't not yet reached. They haven't come on the board, and obviously they include Afro-Eximbank. And of course, they did indicate their intention to go for arbitration. But I can assure you that even just when we are just coming from the annual meetings, and we had a meeting with Afro-Eximbank, and there is another avenue that has come on the table, where one of the third parties has come and have expressed interest to them that they can be able to subrogate this debt. They reached out to us in August, and we have since responded to them in September, where we indicated that if the debt would be assigned to a third party, we have no problem, or that third party, and therefore all we need is a deed of assignment, and the debt then shall be restructured in accordance with the comparability of treatment under the OCC. So we are discussing, and we believe that we will continue to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have one more set of questions? Madam, do you have a question? No, she doesn't.
And probably just to put a point to the ministers on the Eurobonds, if we had not restructured, they said we could have paid 2.6 billion just this year. But the total debt we are going to pay after the restructuring in 2025, the total debt that we are paying in 2025 going to 2026 is under $1 billion. It's just about 900 million for everyone. For the official creditors is about 700.
Amitapendwa ya vintu ifisume vyoza kula kuibukisha kana depotimo wimbo wa temenwa katongi abazunga batita katongi nakula kuibukisha kateka kaibukubuna kapona neseko siove pamenso yangu ama umebaya iyaba ume iyaba ume kateka wabantu twakulira lelo twakulira shikakukonke milimo shove ale filamba yena minta pengosile eti kumemo kulondolola vale lilo wingi
iseko wingi mwakwete isaso wingi mwakwete mwaya mwende wino tata wesu
katushi muchibo kege wali bomba kale lomba mwatuja tulelilake mupangana chiba
penda mpanga mwine kolya mwine ide dalila
yangu ya mama ume ala nacho mwavye mama ukuchinjo lusako kumonevo busaka mama uzituwala basiyani chakwa katuse